Okay, let's see what's going on here. How do I do that? Oh, do I do it like that? Okay. Okay. Top chat live. Okay, okay. Hello, welcome to the Black Ponderer. I'm the host, Neil Trotter. Let's see here. Oh, hello, Nadia. 11 years! I know, right? I've known you for, I guess, 9 to 5 of them because it was my. Oh, cool! Because it was my first year undergrad and I was taking intro to philosophy when I looked. Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people are like, hey, man, I just use you for like, I need help in my college class and I need to write this essay, so I'm just going to use you. I guess using me is better than AI. But I started before AI was, the thing that it is now. Let's see. And then Jeremy, you are back. My favorite philosopher. Yeah, I guess I am back. It's been a minute. That's cool. Long time no chat. Yeah, yeah, it's true. Long time no chat. And I set it up here. Got a nice little setup going on. Let's see. Such a long time. I know, right? I can explain. Let's just see. Here's what we didn't have AI. I know, right? There were things that people used to cheat. Like when I was going to college, it was Spark Notes. But I guess it's something else. Food not bombs. Mm-hmm. That's my sweater. It's actually a Christmas gift. Fellow Canadian. All right, so hello. Let's see. I saw. I guess everything's going okay. Just perhaps people come up later, or they might show up in the when it's posted as just a recording, so I can explain. And really, I just wanted to just continue the tradition of every year. Just want to do a live stream. I got the Gunpla still. I don't know. It just gave me something to do because I'm guessing nobody, few people are gonna have questions, so I gotta do something. Right? But yeah, if you have some questions, feel free to ask. But I got something to do in case there are no questions, right? Yeah. So yeah, 11 years, staying strong. Still on YouTube. Um, Nice to see you. Tell us what you have done with your activism. Yeah, but that's basically why I just haven't really been posting because I've been touching grass. As they say. Like I've been, yeah, just community activism. Not just keyboard warring or warring, not just a keyboard warrior, but just out in the community doing community grassroots organizing and such. And I think that's been really rewarding and great for me. It's nice to get off the internet. The internet's cool, and it's really important to, that's a great place to be too. Not dissing the internet, but at a certain point, you can't just keep debating trolls. You gotta go out in the real world and make some change. So that's why I've been diverting a lot of my time too. I'm with Food Not Bombs is one of the organizations I'm at. So I make no secret, I live in Memphis, Tennessee. And you may have heard that, that's one of the cities. The president of the United States has decided to issue our National Guard military. Like we're being military martial law because we got this power hungry president doing crazy shit. So So that means is a lot of just horrible shit happening politically, social. Of course, as you know, like the immigration, um, ICE. What is it? I don't. Uh, I keep saying ICE. I forgot what they stand for, but the immigration police, they coming in and sweeping people up, and that's a damn shame. That's happening here in Memphis. So, there's a whole, but what you don't hear in the news is all the activism and the response that's fighting that. And there's a lot. There's a lot, even here in the South. Like, we're not all hillbillies and hicks. And, not all of us are like pro-Trump. Many of us here in this American South are, we don't like this shit. So, and we out there, we fight. And, I know in the news just recently, right? Somebody, innocent person got killed by ICE, Am I surprised? No. No. So it's a lot going on in America, but just so people around the world understand, like, not Americans, there's a lot of Americans out here, we're not tolerating, we're not happy about this shit. And we out there, we making a difference, we try to make things better. But it's a hard fight because the state power, and of course there's also the Americans who do support this. So it's a lot of going against that whole movement as well. But I've been putting a lot of my attention into that, and we've been doing some good things, despite all the crap that's happening. Okay, what's going on? What kinds of grassroots organizing and community organizing have you been doing in the past while? Okay, so yeah, with Food Not Bob's, the Memphis chapter, we do weekly, we call them picnics. Like, it's just mutual aid work. So we go to downtown park, and we serve, not only do we serve food and drink, but we also give out free supplies like clothing. Of course, winter's here, so we're giving out the winter clothing and hand warmers and things like that. We give out contraceptives, which is always a good thing to give out, but particularly here because abortion is illegal. Another thank you, President Trump, for that too. But here, so contraceptives are pretty important. Not with the abortion thing, but also safety. Not spreading the STDs. So, that's the thing. We also give just pass around just hygienic products because we deal a lot with homeless folks who just don't have that kind of access to basic hygienic products. So we give those out every week. We're out there, and it's Food Not Bombs. It's also the Memphis chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. We form an alliance with them. They're great. And we also are with a harm reduction group called 901 Harm Reduction, and they're more about like addressing drug abuse and trying to fight the war on drugs, the farce that is the war on drugs, doing like syringe exchange programs, clean needle exchanges, and addressing people where they are, and we work with them. All types. We also work with the Memphis Quakers, which is awesome. Have you ever heard of the Quakers, the religious, denomination? Again, I don't know. Quaker Oats. You see them, but they still around. Quakers is still out and about, and we work with them closely, doing a lot of activist work and abolitionist work there. And that's just one of the things I do. I'm also setting up community refrigerators here in Memphis, where it's just, I'm sure you might have heard of those things where it's a refrigerator just out in the public for anybody. They could just donate in, or they can take food out of. And I'm part of what I do is I build the structure around the refrigerator to prevent it from the weather from damaging it. But 24-hour access, that's help fight food insecurity. I'm also part of several other abolitionist groups where we do a lot of going out in the streets and just knocking on doors and talking to random folks about trying to get more community involvement in trying to make the community safer without police and without prisons. Talking about like trying to finance educational programs and starting up community centers and just giving the youth things to do that are productive. Focusing on better access to health care. And we out in the streets, and it's more, we do also the agitprop. We out there doing that, week posting, putting up flyers that, talking about anti-ICE, anti-capitalist shit, just out letting people know, getting the word out that there's a socialist, anarchist, you know, community organizing movement out, and just getting the word out about that. That's beautiful. If you want to quit the internet, that's understandable. But yeah. So the Black Ponderer is always going to be here. I'm just shifting my focus, but the internet is very important, and I don't. Sometimes we get too much into the internet. I guess moderation is key, right? As long as you utilize it as a tool to your advantage, is good. But you don't want to. You also want to shift to like the actual world too, right? As well. Martial law in Memphis because recent ICE protesting. Yeah, it's not just, we got, in America, we got a ton of law enforcement agencies. I guess that's just how it is in any country, right? I mean, it's ICE, it's the National Guard, it's been here. We got another agency called the U.S. Marshals. We got several different like federal cops that are just out and about, primarily trying to take out undocumented people, people who don't have paperwork, for no real good reason other than xenophobia and just like, it's not making us safer or anything. It's actually making us less safe, but this is the world we live in. Maybe I should put this window later. It just had me full screen. But we'll do this too. Let's see. Okay. The structure of America and the West. The structures of America and the Western are created to preserve advantages and privileges to elite white men. ICE reflects that structural oppression. Yep, and I've been saying this from day one. before back when Obama was I started the channel when Obama was president. We were saying the structures of America, but everybody was saying don't make videos like that. But here we are. Now people are starting to get a clue. But I don't know. Maybe it's too little, too late. I don't know. But that's why I've been making videos about feminism and social activism and race relations and stuff, because if you don't, you end up where we're at now, right? But here we are. We live in a time where pale white folks, especially the males, are becoming extreme right wing because of low birth rates, competition, minorities, and other factors. Yeah, it's true, but don't get it twisted. There's a lot of pale white folks that are out in the street right next to me, fighting a good fight, and not, buying into this right wing, patriarchal, hyper capitalist bullshit. They're right there next to me fighting the fight. So it's always a certain kind of pale white folk, particularly males. There's, you gotta be careful. See, that's the thing about the internet and the media. It's kind of painting this picture of one side is this, one side is that. But it's, it's a bit more complicated. And in Toronto, Canada, but sounds pretty rough right now in Memphis with National Guard. Yep, and it's not. It's Memphis, but it's other, it's all the other places like what is it, Minneapolis? Like they're dealing with their shit right now. It's Chicago got their National Guard crap going on, an ICE situation. It's like many cities in America. And to be completely honest, right? To be completely honest, y'all just now we just have a president that is very just blatant and just bold and just showing it like it is. But in America, these things have been happening, you know, throughout, right? It's just now like, people are getting more, these white supremacists are getting more bold about it, right? So it is, I think it's just the more the boldness of it. But, speaking as a black man, it's kind of, it is the same song and dance. I think a lot of white people who are like kind of more left-wing, they're just like, whoa, what the hell's going on? But, somebody like me is like, dude, I don't know what rock you've been living. Well, the rock of privilege, right? So, okay, so what's going on? But yeah, it's all over the world, Canada, and it's just this kind of fascism is just spreading out throughout the world. But that's why we gotta like fight back. Us people who have a little bit of privilege and who are kind of more sensible, we need to step up to the plate and be like, all right, enough is enough. And that's what I did. Like, it's time for us to get off the internet and actually like stand up to these motherfuckers. So, okay, so let's see. Wow, you are involved. Oh, yep. You're involved in a lot. Are you still working on your book these days? Yep, still working on that. Still trudging along. Just interviewing local queer artists, right? And reading a few other books. I'm about to release another video of a book that I've been reading. It's called Black on Both Sides, A Racial History of Trans Identity. Right. Reading a lot of queer theory stuff because, we live in times where that's needed, right? I know, people are going to argue and say, oh, stop with this woke ideology. But it's like, y'all need to read the room. Like, understand, like, we need to, like, start getting some wisdom from people who are fighting this, who have fought this fight decades before, So yeah, I'm still reading books. I'm still working on a book. So do you typically have something on every evening and both days on the weekends? Yes. Yes, I do. So I have less time for the YouTube channel. And honestly, like, not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I'm not upset about it. I still come out with videos every so often, which is, and I think the people who know me on the internet, you're always free to message me, hit me up on the various social media sites, and we still buddies. I'm not going anywhere. I just shifted my time elsewhere. I'm curious what a typical week looks like for you. But so again, also, I got a full-time 9-to-5 job. So that's the other thing, right? I don't make money off of activism. It's just something I do on the side. I still got to pay the bills. So I got like an office 9-to-5 job. And then usually on my off time, I'm doing a lot of, organizing work. Right. And oftentimes it is something every evening, night. It's not like the only thing that's typical is my 9-to-5, but it's always something different. the Saturdays we do the Food Not Bombs picnic. And the cool thing about it is there have been people who watch the YouTube channel who are in Memphis and they've showed up to the picnics, which are kind of awesome. That's pretty cool. They're like, "Hey man, I know you from the Black Ponderer." I'm like, "Hey, and I'm like, "Cool." Grab here's a spoon, help serve. So that's good. So every Saturday I'm doing that, but then other times I'm doing other stuff. But it's always something, and there's all types of other stuff, fun things I do too as well. I've been involved. Another thing that's kind of taken a lot of my time, which is cool. I'm part of the roller derby team here in Memphis. I'm trying to be like a referee. I'm training to be a roller derby referee. I like the Memphis roller derby team is pretty cool because they're also very progressive and very involved in activism and community organizing as well. And that's a sports team. And it's fun to hang out with them, learning how to skate and do like skating skills. And that's fun. That's kind of more of a fun thing. But learning how to skate and doing the derby tricks, that's taken a lot of my time too. Okay, hello, Jonas Hoboken. We gotta we gotta eventually. Oh, it's kind of. Can I flip this? Let me see if I can flip this. Could I properties? I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, so where are we at here? Wow, you're involved. I'm curious. Okay, for my contributions, I simply read a lot of books to keep myself sharp and aware, especially of oppressive structures. Okay. What are these numbers? I see crowns and numbers. I didn't do that. Number one. Or maybe that's like, oh, I see. That's just the people that are on currently. The first people that are on get little crown icons. Okay. That's cool. So do you personally see federal agents? Oh yeah, I see them. I see around when you go out. Yeah, you see them. You see them. You see them all about. They show off. They walk around like, they reliving their G.I. Joe fantasies. They've seen like, U.S. Marshals. They walking around because they probably watch like Chuck Norris Walker Texas Ranger and they're trying to relive their Chuck Norris fantasy Texas Ranger. Yeah, you see them. They're hard to miss. Uh-huh. Do you ever get burnt out? Oh hell no. I don't get burnt out or feel grief and need to slow down a bit. Nope. I don't at all. Activism fuels me. It gives me like fuel because what burns me out is my office job. Because as in my office job, I just make rich people richer, right? And that's like soul draining. It's not a stressful job at all. Like it's it's a nice job. Computer, sitting in computer, data analysis type of stuff. But it's not like soul fulfilling. But no, community activism gives me purpose. And it does the opposite of burnout. That's why I'm so involved in it all the time. It's like it really helps me out. I'm happy with your pace of posting to YouTube. I have a bunch going on too. Cool. So the pace works for me, but missing you sometimes. I will reach out with an art project I'm working on when I'm done. Cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, everybody. Everybody's got their stuff going on, and that's cool. So reach out if you want. But I'm not going anywhere. I just kind of slowed down a little bit, but I'm still here. Still gonna, and maybe things will start picking up. Probably not. The state of affairs now with the political climate currently, it's like I got to fight the good fight. Uh, okay, and then Jeremy says, it's clear your life is happy and fulfilling because you involve yourself in your community. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So, um, this is a book. If anybody wants this, I'm giving it away. We do book giveaways every time I do one of these anniversary things. It is. I wonder if it can focus. A Kierkegaard anthology. I don't think it will. Can I do? Oh, there we go. That's why people put the hand in front. It's just an anthology of Soren Kierkegaard. I know maybe some of you may not be interested because I know some of y'all are not interested in reading works by old dead white people. But Soren Kierkegaard is, a classic philosopher, existentialist philosopher. I've done several videos of his, and honestly, I just came across this book. So it's got either or. There we go. Either or. Some discourses, fear and trembling, repetition. Okay, some of these I have not done videos on. In fact, most of these I haven't. Concluding unscientific postscript. Okay, cool. So I've done either or, and I've done fear and trembling as videos. What else? Oh, it's got a lot of stuff. I know, yeah, that's a popular one, The Present Age. Yeah, this is a webcam, so you're not. I could just read it. Okay, there you go. The point of view the sickness unto death. I did that one. Training in Christianity. Okay. So yeah, it's just a collection of works from me. And whoever wants it, you got dibs. We can do a random, select a random number, and whoever gets it. Or looks like Jeremy might be the only one. I know probably not a lot of people are on because I did this little impromptu. So this is just the give. I'm sorry. This giveaway is just gonna be for the OGs, for the real ones. That I know it's a Friday evening. Like people out having a good time. So people just out and about. So this is for the real ones. So this is a giveaway. So we got Nadia wants to be included, and I wonder if you'll win this time. Because you've lost. One time you did win. But no, you lost, but I think I had two of them, so I just gave you one. But yeah, so Jeremy, if you want it, you can have it. Okay, so it's between Jeremy and Nadia, which we can do I'll give it a little more time if anybody wants to pop in. I'll unpin this message. And I'll make a new message that says giving away spell the guy's name right. Guard anthology. Let me know if you wanna be included. Because nobody else entered. Okay, that's what happened. I forgot what happened. Maybe wait like 5 minutes. And if nobody shows up, then we'll just do it that way. Let me see if I can flip this. How did I do this? Because I've done it before. Transform, rotate 180 degrees. Okay, there we go. So I think I'm here. Yeah, and so if y'all got any other questions or want to talk about anything, just uh, you know, feel free to put it in the chat. But you know, if you just want to just vibe, just want to be there with the vibes, then I'm just gonna be building Gunpla for a little bit. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I probably should include, so I just something, because I know there's not going to be too many people here, because I was very kind of did this last minute spur of the moment, but I was like, I got to do something every year. Yeah, again, this is more for you know, because this will get posted after the fact, and I'm sure it'll be more for those people looking after. So I need A11. No idea. Is this A? What part of the world are you turning? Okay. H. But yeah, otherwise, you know, the political climate sucks. But you know, overall, can't. Otherwise, I can't complain. But otherwise, life hasn't been too cruel to me personally. I know it's been cruel for many people in the world. You know, I definitely know that, but not for me. Happy to say, which is why I'm like, okay, you gotta, since you're comfortable, it's time for you to kind of like put a little effort in trying to make the world better. I cannot find this. Let's see. Were there protests in Memphis after the recent murder by ICE? Yes, there sure were. And it's funny how the news just doesn't show that. I find that very revealing. Yep, there sure was a protest in Memphis when that happened. But did the news cover it? No. So you wouldn't know. You know, there's probably protests all over America where that people, but I mean, they did show a few, but they're not showing all. But yes, there was outrage. Yeah. You know, it was we had a vigil. Right, we had a vigil. Where is A? Is this A? Which one is this? Oh, that's PS, okay. Do you think you'll live in Memphis for very? Yeah, I bought a house here. I'm gonna live in Memphis for the rest of my life, so I'm invested. Yeah, I'm invested in this city. I'm a Memphian, proud Memphian, and I'm not going anywhere. They're gonna have to kick me out. So yeah, not in my town. That's my attitude. It comes from, and then you say, any new ideas or concepts you recently been thinking about? Well, I'll say it's not a new concept, but you know, my favorite book of all time, which y'all know, Braiding Sweetgrass, has a concept. It's about like defining your place, your home, right? Being transient, but like discovering home. I forgot that there was a chapter in Braiding Sweetgrass about like the original man, which is like a native indigenous origin story about the creation of the first human beings, right? And the original man came from the sky world or wherever that humans were originally from, and the first man came to the earth and was like, felt, not at home. But then, the original man talked to like the plants and the animals and learned from nature. And through that process, the original man learned, created a sense of home, right? And that's kind of how I feel from California, moving from California to Memphis. Is like, I think like what's happening currently, and some people just got to do it because it's just too dangerous for some people. What's happening is people are, we got these political threats happening, and people are like, well, fuck this, I'm going to move somewhere where it's not as fascist. The problem is you move somewhere and eventually the fascism follows you, or like at a certain point you gotta stop running away. Now some people have to run away, right? Because it's not safe for them. But people like me and other, like what Jeremy was talking about, how like, yeah, some white people got a lot of privilege. It's time for us to like kind of stay and be like, no, I will not move. I will not move, and you're not gonna change this place for the worse. This is my home, and I'm gonna fight to make it better, right? And I'm not gonna allow you. That's what needs to happen, right? We gotta like where we're at now. We have to be like, this is my home. This is my home, right? And you gotta fight for your home, right? You gotta fight for it. You can't be like, well, I'll just go somewhere else where it's safer, right? Because that doesn't really change anything, right? That's actually what the powers kind of want you to do, right? And usually the people that move are the ones that have the most social privilege, like they got a lot of money, a lot of access, a lot of inherited wealth, right? They can do that kind of thing. But the people who are most suffering, they can't just move. What about them, So I've been thinking about that concept recently. Do you think you'll? Yes, yes. I didn't see any. No. I saw the vigil in Minneapolis, but not in other cities. Okay, there was a vigil here. I'm so happy. Brady's is your favorite book of all time. Oh yeah, it beat Walden by Henry David Thoreau. That's my second favorite book. But Brady's Sweet Glass, all time favorite. What do you love about Memphis? The people. The people are amazing, and I tell this all the time. And I'll say it. People might get offended, but I'll say it. California has a stereotype. It's very Hollywood, and it's true. Like people are just fake in California, and I know because I grew up in California. Born and raised Oakland, Cal. People are just not sincere. They're not genuine, and that growing up there, I thought that's what people like. I thought all people were like that. I really did. And so when I moved to Memphis, that was the culture shock. I guess they call it the Southern hospitality, right? But people are very sincere and authentic and real here. Like when you meet somebody, you really meet the real person. In California, it's kind of like the internet. Like you're meeting somebody, but you're not really knowing who they are. Like an avatar of them, right? Because they just like everybody's putting on a front. But it's not like that here. The problem is like here, like the politics suck, whereas over there it's cool. Right? So it's like over where I'm from, people are assholes, but the politics are great, or decent, I would say. Over here, the people are very sincere and nice, but the politics are horrible. Right? So it's like I don't know. But that's the thing. But otherwise, like that's the only thing that's good about this place. The people, but that goes a long way. Like the weather sucks because it's humid, and it's hot and it's humid in the summer. There, it's like really bad. And then infrastructure is horrible because our politicians don't care about building our infrastructure to make it livable for common people. They just invest in like luxury real estate for like tourists and shit, like businessmen, like Elon Musk. Yeah, I know maybe you've heard about Elon Musk has a factory here in Memphis. It's XAI factory, and of course that thing drains tons of like our electrical grid, and it's causing a lot of pollution here in Memphis. And he built that here because he knew nobody would give a shit about us because it's Memphis. Who gives a shit about Memphis? Right? And of course, the politicians just sold out. I don't know what deal they made, but they basically made a deal with the guy. So yeah, just everything. For in California, it's like the weather's great. It's all types of cool events that happen over there. It's very pretty over there. Everything is good. It's just everybody's an asshole over there. I'm sorry. That's what I'll say about that. But what kept me here was the people. And then Jeremy says, I read Braiding Sweetgrass. Thanks by watching your video about it. Yeah, I did a live stream at request from viewer requests. It's beautiful way Kimmer blends Native American wisdom and Western science, the real truths and logic behind Mother Nature. Yeah. It's also what I like most about Braiding Sweet, and I talk about this extensively in the live stream, is that there's human beings already know what to do about the issues that we face. It's just we just have to have the will to do it. Right? It's not that we don't have answers to the problems that we have, like climate change and like social inequality and like financial collapse and things like that. We know what to do because people in the indigenous cultures already have been doing things that have that are solutions to these problems. The solutions are already there. It's just we have to implement them. But the problem is the people in power don't want to do that. That's the challenge. All right. Where are the other books? I don't know where I put them. I thought they were here, but I guess not. Yeah, I got it. One day, I will read. I got her other books, and one day we will be doing a video on them, for sure. Author of Braiding Sweetgrass. Okay, we will be doing videos on these because this author is a masterpiece. Is a master crafter. But it's all look forward to that. But when is that coming out? Given maybe 6 to 8 months. You know what? Another thing I found: the United States Constitution. I guarantee you, like 99.999% of Americans have not read this. but it's just happened to be on the shelf. But it should be required reading, but nobody reads. No American actually reads that. Let's see. I think it's ludicrous that some states can have people that are sincere, authentic, as you put it, but the politics are. I know it's correct. Oh, that's California. That's California in a nutshell. I know that's something else. But a lot of like left leaning or blue states are like that in the United States of America, which is why ultimately things don't change really. Because you got this fake activism, and this I guess sad to say, I don't like throwing out terms that like the right wing uses to weaponize, but sometimes they, like virtue signaling, it is a thing. Like there's a lot of like in California, I definitely experienced that. Kind of like I'm doing the right thing, non-profit industrial complex, which I did a video about that. One of my more recent videos. That's huge in California. California actually is a state that in the United States that was primarily responsible for the prison industrial complex by like making prisons the big institutions that they are now. Blue state, blue state did that, but I don't even know if we're doing gunpla. And gathering them. I can't wait for you to read them. I think it's her best, but the other. Okay, I know. I have a friend who thinks their service berry. That's right. That's what it is, right? Yeah, the service berry is better. And then she was describing the book to me, and while she was describing the book to me, she started crying. And I'm like, okay, let me buy this book. Because she thought it was so impactful. So I'm gonna read that. And somebody else I know read the book too, and they said they thought it was better than Braiding Sweetgrass. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You was referring to Tennessee. Yeah, yep. And then the opposite is true. Yep, that's what you're saying. Um, yeah. So it's funny because you'll be talking to here in Tennessee. You'll talk to somebody. They'll be the nicest person in the world, and then they'll be like, uh, then you'll figure out like they don't think women should have access to abortion. They'll be like, yeah, and and it won't stop there. They'll like be very nice to you. They'll be very courteous and they'll be like, yeah, I just think all women should just focus on having children, and I really don't think women should have careers. Like they'll just flat out say that to you, or like they'll just say like, yeah, ultimately all gay people are going to go to hell. But I'll open the door for you, and I'll if you're in trouble, I'll help you. I'll give you some cash if you. But gay people are going to go to hell. It's that kind of thing. It's very, and you're just like, damn, you're such a nice person. But that's kind of what happens here. Why do you think the nicest people have such horrible political views? Oh, it's because the lack of education here in the United States. There's, or maybe you don't know, but you probably do, right? There's been this active movement to just destroy education in this country. Currently, like the Department of Education has just completely been dismantled by the president, of course, because why? Education is power. They don't teach civics in school anymore, right? Like that's like not really taught. We don't kids don't learn like the separation of church and state, even though that never really was a thing here. But they don't even learn the concept or like the three branches of government, or like how to get involved in politics besides voting. Going to town hall meetings, starting a petition. The thing about lobbying and things like we don't learn about how to be politically involved in anything, and then so we critical thinking. That's the other thing. Like, yeah, I could just go on and on about that. Like, education has been destroyed in this country, so people just don't know how to think critically anymore, which is kind of sad. And like AI and social media is just helping. Is contributing to that, where people are just like, they can't even, their attention spans are so short, they can't really think about ideas for long periods of time anymore. People just accept what's given to information. First time they see information, they just immediately accept it, right? And they don't like stop to like vet it and see if it's like right or wrong, or like where is the source from, or who's actually the credibility of where the information is coming from. People just don't do that anymore. That's why. That's why a lack of it. Yeah, it's a lack of education. So really, like one of the ways we change the world is if is improving education. Right? That's one dramatic way to change society, right? But that's like an institutional thing. All right. Then, you know what? Philosophically speaking, good people can contribute to harmful beliefs. Is a book about this problem. Yeah, because you can spin any idea to like either good or bad for the most part. I'll never forget. I saw this documentary on PBS. It was about Martin Luther, not Dr. Martin Luther King, like Martin Luther, the guy that started, Protestantism, right? That split from the Catholic Church. It was about him, right? And then it was very fascinating because they talked about the people that was influenced by who Martin Luther influenced, right? And they focused on two people. They had two people, right? And they were like juxtaposing them. Like one person who was influenced by Martin Luther was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? His father, Martin Luther King, changed his name because he was inspired so heavily by him. And then his son got inspired. The other person that they compared to, who was largely inspired by Martin Luther, was Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was deeply inspired by Martin Luther. Right? And they just the way the documentaries show like these two extremely different kinds of people and the way they thought, but they compare like Martin Luther's ideas and what each took from them. It just the conclusion was like, a really like comprehensive idea can go anywhere, right? Really deep ideas people can take them in all different directions. And that was very fascinating to me. And it has nothing to do, sometimes it has little to do with the actual person, like whether the person that came up with the idea was good or bad. It's just people will just take ideas and just conform them to their will. Right? I mean, Karl Marx is an example of that, right? People have taken Marx in like so many different directions. Like you got Stalin, you got Lenin, you got Mao, you got and then you got like hippies. Hippies will take Marx, and you got like what's that? Che Guevara, right? All these people just taking Marxism and kind of like going their own way with it. And then Marx himself was inspired by Hegel, right? And he just took the Hegelian dialectic, Hegel's like idea of the dialectic, and just really applied it in some way that that he really thought, which that's the thing you could do. But a lot of other Hegelians didn't, apply his idea to economics, right? It's fascinating. So yeah, it's just like, I guess that's why philosophy is so important, right? Because he's really good at, really thinking about ideas and really like, okay, is this what really this idea really is, or is it not, right? Okay, so more than 5 minutes passed. So there's two people who, Nadia and Jeremy. Let's see who wins. I see Nadia has number 2. Is that how it always was? And Jeremy is number 1 in this chat. That's what I'm seeing. So that's the assignment. All right, so can I just display? I'm just going to pull a random number generator. Oh, okay. All right. Well, then, yeah, you're saying it just depends on how many messages you send. I see. So I'm just gonna base it off who came first, which is looks like Nadia was the first one. So Nadia's number one. Jeremy's number two. Yeah. Nadia is the first one to post in the chat. So Nadia's number one. Jeremy's number two. And I'm trying to bring this thing up so that everybody can see. It's gonna be messy. Can I just do this? And then can I do this? Okay, then can I do this? Uh-oh. Got Inception. Okay, minimum 1, maximum 2. Generate. Okay, well. Yeah, I kind of think. So now Nadia's saying, wait, Jeremy can have it. Yeah, because I remember Nadia, you were saying you're not really interested in reading about, you know, old white philosophers. You're more into like braiding sweetgrass and indigenous philosophy and like black feminism and stuff like that. Oh, okay. Well, if that's what you want, then I will get rid of this. And then do the Inception again. But do that. So, congrats, Jeremy. You are taking this anthology. Enjoy. What are the? Let me see the content. What are the ones that I wanted to? Philosophical fragments. I do want to do a video on that. What was the one? I guess it was philosophical fragments. That was the one. Oh, the present age. Yeah. Oh, you can't even see. The present age was the one I wanted to. The individual and then the public. Huh. That. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Okay. Cool. Well, you know the drill. Just message me your mailing address and I'll give it to you. Okay. Well, that's that. I have not even took together one piece. I guess I'll hang out for maybe a little longer. Maybe an hour or two. Probably just maximum 1 hour. Okay, cool. Send me your address and I'll mail it to you. I'm just trying to, where is A? This is AI. This is I, okay. H, G, J, okay. We have, this is like PS or something like that. PS, E2, F1, E1, C2. I don't know where the A. That's BA. Okay. Did I lose it? 2, what's that? 1. M, D. I'm so confused. Maybe I lost it. I haven't opened this thing since a long time, so that could, which would be a shame, but it's probably here somewhere. But yeah, I hope y'all been doing good. Yeah, with your life endeavors. And yep. I am so confused. What's this? This is D. M. K1. D. Oh, here's A. I knew that was A. Why did I see PS? Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, my stickers. I found it. Let's see. What you been up to, Jeremy? Yeah, Jeremy, I remember you were saying you were writing a book. How's that been going? I hope to visit Memphis one day and meet some genuine people, including you. That would be cool. Yeah, you're welcome whenever. Come on by. Yep, I will, I'll show you around. I think I've mentioned it before. There's a lot to see here, but you got to know the locals. Right? Like the tourist places like, Graceland, Elvis, the place where BB King, that's like half a day. Like, but if you want to know the real Memphis, I'll show you the spots. Let's see. I was going on a road trip, but then all the border stuff got weird. Yep. And we canceled our loose plans to a car camp and do a bit of road trip down. So, sorry to hear that, but yeah. Because I know Trump was trying to make Canada the 51st state. I guess that's not really funny. Would have cut it. So you're like, well, fuck that. Wow, what an idiot. Okay, here's 11. I'm involving myself in my community by meeting new people, and I'm pursuing acting. Oh, okay. Cool. Actor. That's nice. Acting in commercials. Um, Honestly, I hear that pays pretty well. Commercial acting, as opposed to like voice acting, which I hear doesn't pay well at all, unless it's like a really big role. Otherwise, but I hear commercial acting. It's kind of like I hear with modeling. I hear like the highest paid. I mean, you got the supermodels, but actually, like the people who get paid a lot in modeling are the ones that are in like catalogs, like the people that pose for Target or like Walmart for like or Gap or Old Navy. Those are the models that get paid a lot. Really, that's the type of modeling you want to do, not like like Playboy or Maxim or something. They actually don't get paid that much. Apparently. Okay, and then you say my book of 100 poems already got published, but the independent publisher was trashed, didn't promote my work. Ah, shit. Yeah, sorry to hear that. I'm not going through, I'm gonna write a book. I'm not even going through a publisher. Fuck that. I'm just indie publishing. I'm just gonna release it. I'm just gonna tell everybody I know. And I'm not even doing that publishing shit, industry shit. No, nope, not doing it. I'm gonna release a version online for free. It's gonna be on my blog, which is why I keep putting it on the end of my videos, although I never have to use it. That's gonna be where my book is gonna be. You just download it for free, or you can like buy a physical copy, but you're just gonna be paying for the cost of materials because I'm not selling it. But sorry to hear that. Yeah, you got a link to the commercial. So like on, it's probably not on YouTube, right? It might be on Venmo. No, Vimeo. That's where all the film people put their stuff on Vimeo. Can't wait to book. But the thing about my book is very like philosophy heavy, so it can get technical. But I did interview many people, so it's got pictures of real people and their art. So I try to keep it grounded, but I also wanted to make it very philosophical. So I think it might get a bit technical at times, but it's also going to be rooted in like actual experience. Yeah, it's a lot of other people talking too. I do a lot of interviews, so that's cool. Any ideas for a cover? I'm hoping to get a local artist friend I know to do the cover. That would be nice because I'm not really artistically inclined. Yeah. All right, so that's A11. $42. Let's see. G20. What is this? 42. There's no 42. Okay, that must be G. All right. Hopefully I remember. It's my bill not being written by an old white. Yeah. That'd be cool. So I hope, one of my goals is to include voices from a lot of queer people and a lot of people of color, a lot of women voices. That was my goal. But I also I do want to include some traditional, um, old school philosophers too, just to because one of my points is I'm trying to say that old school philosophy needs to kind of address modern issues, and and it can and it should. So that's one of my points. Yeah, commercial ads I hear it pays pretty well. So G. Going too fast. Let's see. I I H G. Okay, here's G. Are you still interviewing or are you okay? I'm watching plenty of movies, especially. Okay. Watching the classic movies? Like what? Like Marlon Brando stuff? Or like On the Waterfront? Or I mean, how classic we talking? Audrey Hepburn, 42. I'm lost again. I guess there's multiple G's. This is I. Yeah, this is gonna take me a while. Here. Meryl Streep, Denzel, Daniel Day-Lewis. Okay. You watch Denzel in what is it? Uh, the one where he's just beating everybody up. Is that like all good actors eventually just become action movie stars? Uh, it's not The Eraser. Equalizer. The Equalizer. The Eraser is that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with that black pageant winner. Not Vivica Fox, the other one. But the Equalizer. It's a mixture. I watch old Hollywood as much as black movies. Oh, black movies? Or like, what do you mean black? Like Waiting to Exhale? Or like How Stella Got a Groove? Like that? Or like those black, like Spike Lee joints? Training Day. I mean, yeah, Denzel Washington is great. He's a great. I have nothing but good things to say about his acting skills. He's awesome. I remember in school, because he's done some small. I remember in school. It's funny if you watch his early stuff. It was a college class like African American Studies, I think. That was like one of my elective Easy A classes. We watched this movie. It was called Mississippi Malaysia, I think it was called. Mississippi Malaysia. I think that's what the movie's called. And it has Denzel Washington. It has some. It's about him falling in love with Malaysian woman. I think it's a Spike Lee joint. It's a Spike Lee. Malaysia. I think that was like the start of his relationship with Spike Lee. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. I even said it wrong. Mississippi masala. I don't know, man. I really don't. But it was very early 90s the way it was shot. Look. Wait, let me show you. Wait, where am I at? He's so young. Wait. Yeah, this is a movie poster. Oh, it's so small. Oh, okay, that's a Wikipedia page. Why is it so small? Filled by. Oh, okay, it's not. It's not Spike Lee. Okay. It sure did feel like a Spike, but it was not. Okay, my bad. This looked like an indie movie. That's like old school Denzel. I think they remade it but of course with these remakes they're not that good. But can I look up the remake? Yeah, it was received very well. It's like so. It just reminds me of when I was a little kid because I'm old. So like that was like such the style when I was a little kid. That's like in living color style, like old school '90s, like back when everybody was trying to go back to their roots and shit. It's like yeah, back to that Pan Africanism was like huge back then. That's funny. Yeah, I've seen some early Denzel movies that probably most people don't remember. All right, let's go back to where I was at. Boom. Okay. So Ron. Oh, okay. So that the actress's mom. Meryl Streep. Uh, yeah, I don't really, I can't really think of any Meryl Streep movie that I really enjoy. Great actor, but I can't think of anything that pops out. How do we think Mamdani is going to do? So like that, I think that's the new mayor of New York. Uh, yeah, we'll see. Um, he's already rubbing shoulders with Trump. Yeah, they were like, they had a meeting, and he's like, yeah, I think we can make a great relationship. And Trump's like, yeah, he might surprise. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's better than nothing. It's better than having like a hard right winger. But he might be like, what do you call these people? I guess one word that's used a lot is neoliberal. He might be like that neoliberal style, which is too bad. But hey, at the same time, it's better him than what was the guy uh, Como, who was also I think he was blue too. He was a Democrat as well, wasn't he? I think, and people used to love him, but then he just kind of got a little right wing. I'm looking for you. So we'll see. I'm not, honestly, don't have high hopes, but I'm glad he won. I'm glad he became. I mean, we do need more blue. I'm one of those. I am one of those people who are like, look, the lesser of the two evils. I am one of those people. I am not like Democrats, Republicans. They're all the same. I mean, that's obviously not the case. Because if like Kamala Harris was president now, like yeah, we would not be in the shit that we are in. I mean, we'd still be in some shit. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, not. I mean, ICE wouldn't be all over the fucking place. I'll tell you that. You know, abortion would be legal uh, if wasn't and if Hillary Clinton won, right? You know, people, the government would actually give a shit about climate change, right? If, you know, I mean, you know, the world would be, you know, not on its way to like human extinction, you know, if you know, so yeah. So I mean, I am for like we need as many blue people as possible, not to, but you know, I'm not like I don't. I'm not like I'm not a Democrat. You know, I'm like what an independent, I guess you call it. You can call me. I don't. Where are these pieces? What time is it? Okay, I can still stay for a bit longer. Looking for G. B. L. E, F, J, J. This is definitely not it. It must be this, right? I, no, this is I. I agree, but I don't think blue will be saving us from human extinction. I know um, yeah, I mean, we would be investing more in renewable energy, America at least. Um, you know, and I think, do I have it? Let me see if I got it. Probably not. Probably threw it out. Oh, yeah, I do. Let me put it here. I read this magazine. It's like a scientific journal. It's like it's like general science. Um, yeah, it's just called Science. It's like a scientific journal. It's one of the cheaper ones you could have. And they do like every year they have the breakthrough of the year where they're like, what is the big science thing that's happening this year? And this year, um, it's renewable energy is actually, you know, more energy in the world is being generated by renewable energy than fossil fuel uh, in the world globally, right? That's like the breakthrough of the year, right? Which is pretty remarkable, actually. Like you know, and that's something you know. Again, that's not advertised because they don't want you to know that. You know, mainstream media doesn't want you to know that. But yeah, more energy is in the world that's being produced is renewable than fossil fuel. Now, of course, it's not enough, right? It's still not enough to you know to address the crisis of climate change. Um, like the big powers have to be on board. Like we got a lot of little powers that are adopting state powers, but we need the big powers, and so that's why we need like you know as much as much people in the big, you know the I guess the what do you call it? You know, I try to use like politically correct language. First world, third world, that's not a thing anymore. Now you know developed countries, you can't even say you know undeveloped countries. No, um, the big state powers, like those are the only culprits. So we need like people in government that are at least leaning toward, uh, you know, or at least taking it like a little bit seriously. And if that happens, then you know, like we're on our way. It's just these, you know, United States, China, India, like the biggest culprits. They're the ones that are like, nah, we're not doing that. But all the smaller states powers are adopting renewable energy. So we do need more like liberal. We just need so, and then the issue is like the um, the big giant state powers like China, United States of America, India. They're all running by fascists, right? And people who don't believe climate change, don't give a shit about climate change, So that's what we need: people in government who at least give a shit, so that so they can get on board with this trend that's happening. Yeah, but it's a global north, global south. Right, right, right. Now you're braiding sweetgrass was using global north, global south. But yeah, as she said, even that's problematic, right? So it's hard to say. But she's like, well, see, even she's like, well, the lesser of the evils. So I'm just gonna go with the lesser of the evil, right? The least harmful, I guess. Yeah, global north, global south. Yeah. Well, the the major world powers, um, they don't care because they just don't care, right? That's where they're getting their money, right? And a lot of these, like Trump is going to turn 80 like this year, I think. A lot of these government people who control God, they're old, so they're like, well, I'm gonna be dead by the time this happens, so I don't care. Just give me money now. Uh, so yeah, and it's we need like, yeah, yeah. But I will say like that article was a little encouraging. I mean, because the way like mainstream media portrays it is like, yeah, nobody's using renewable energy, or like as a minority, which is that's not true. Uh, yeah, having more renewable energy won't save us. No, it won't. But it's better than nothing. Kind of like the same thing with what is this? I'm sorry, I can't. It's hard. I can't say the guys. Mandani. It's like, well, you know, I'd rather have him as the mayor than like, some right wing, Christian nationalist. I'd rather take Kamala Harris than Trump. uh, yeah, yeah. But I mean, you're all right. We need to drastically slow down our growth mindset. I mean, really, I mean, we need. I mean, yeah, what we need to do is completely not use fossil fuel at all, zero, like zero. But I mean, that's what we need. But of course, like, is that gonna happen? No. So what can happen? Is the question. But yeah, like what you say is. We need to drastically slow down. Yeah, so again, just falls back to lack of education. It's a mindset. It's literally a mindset, and so yeah, we just need to work on that. Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate goal. But the thing is, like, how do we get there, like, in a realistic way? Like, so it's like we need to stop consuming so much of everything. Yeah, no, we do need to do that. But that has to happen in a stepwise fun. I mean, it's just not going to happen just like that, right? Uh, and it's just it's a hard problem to think about because I do it just doesn't work, right? Because I also have like lots of activist buddies who just like we need to end it now. It's like, okay, but there needs to be like a kind of like plan to get there, right? You can't like yeah. So we as the top what was up here. hmm So like we know the issue, but I mean, so how do we get to? So you're saying like it's a matter of actually being disciplined. So how do we develop that discipline? Is the question that needs to be answered in avoiding. Now, I guess a common response is like, well, it's impossible, we can't, so therefore we're going to all die, right? But I don't like to think like that because the response is like what's necessary to avoid extinction is just not going to happen. So we're all going to die. Right? It's like it's the conclusion, right? And so like what happens is people will go into nihilism and despair, or like ambivalence and be like, well, that life sucks, and then you die. But I don't. I like to think of it more like how can we get to that point? Even if we don't achieve it, like how can we do it in a way that's kind of realistic? To got to keep going at it and think of the seven generations, right? But the thing is, like, um, it's not just about patience, right? It's about okay, but what our generation, what are we going to do to what is our role to play? You know, because I think an issue like when I go to like activist spaces, like there's the extreme activists who kind of just want to topple everything. They don't really know how to do it. They're just like, well, we'll just. And so what happens is that they kind of just wait. They're just like they're not doing anything. They're just like, um, they're like this extreme thing needs to happen uh, for us to achieve our goal. Like I don't know how to get to it, but it needs to happen. They kind of just keep repeating that over and over. So I guess my question is like, okay, but what can we do, like actually do to beat that step condition? And so like for me, it's like, it's doing a lot of community organizing, understanding also that the system that we are in right now, it's like I'm not going to be able to change that to the extreme. So I gotta like, okay, I gotta settle for the lesser of two evils, and that's the part I can play. you know, and maybe that's good enough. Huh? Well, I guess I am still just thinking about how we can make billionaires accountable. That's why I said got to keep going to keep erotic. I'm reading How to Be an Anti-Capitalist. A factor of discipline should be evaluating how much country needs to consume with a government, creating a nationalist chart. Well, I'll just say, uh, yeah. But, I mean, that's right. It's definitely good to continue educating yourself and learning about things. Uh, but I will say, like, that's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of like got off the internet for a bit because what happens is, yeah, you kind of consumed in like ideas all the time, and but there's a difference between like the theoretical and like when you're really in it, right? when you're really in, when you're actually out there organizing and doing community activism, you realize it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess, and you're like perfect solutions just don't apply. Like they don't apply. It's always like, and that's a hard thing to hear. It's a hard thing to hear, and people don't want to confront that reality. But when you are out there in the activist work, that's why so many you see people like Angela Davis eventually becoming heavily involved in government. Angela Davis is hardcore abolitionist, promoting Hillary Clinton, because you realize eventually you know you gotta work within these systems. You're not going to it's about it's kind of like that seven generations thing. It's do your part, but it's kind of like you're doing multiple routes, right? Because I do my community activist work, mutual aid, feeding people, setting up community fridges. So that's very anti-capitalist, making food free. At the same time, I'm well aware, the the government can easily just without the question just eliminate that immediately, right? They can just immediately say hey, this you're gonna have to need a permit to do that, or you're gonna need some sort of permission, and so they can do that at any time. So what is you gotta have some sort of relationship with the government of some kind, right? Not to capitulate, but to and it's hard to accept, but I'm learning that now. That's why Dr. King, people, it just is interesting how the whole debate with Malcolm X and Dr. King, and some people will say well, Dr. King, he kind of he sold out because he started, he literally would go to the president of the United States and be like, hey man, we need to work something out, and some people don't like that, but he understood that's what you got to do that shit, because it's a mess. It's a mess. It really is a mess. And thinking about how the problem, how do you make billionaires accountable? Well, you got to have people in government that you can that'll meet you not even halfway, but 10% of the way. Which might be you might say well, that's not good enough, and it's not good enough, but that's all you got, at the end of the day. As opposed to currently, where you have a government that's meeting us 0% of the way. Right? So, anyway, that's basically what I'm learning, and why I kind of got off the internet. I'm learning these ideas are very good in theory, but when you actually apply them in real life, they tend to break down. But not to say for example, I'm an abolitionist. So and I've said that, and I make videos about abolition, about we should live in a world where there's no police. And I work with people who are if you just got rid of police tomorrow, the world would be better. That's probably, right? For the most part, yes, but you got to have some sort of justice system. There's got to be some plan to to provide safety and justice and accountability. You can't just be police go away now, and it's okay, well, that's what's left. Yeah, it's interesting. And so I think about those things in my community work where we're like trying to develop systems of and restorative justice. So we have like systems in place so that there's no need to call the police. But you can't just be like fuck the police and have no like plan to like address harm, right? uh, yeah. Oh, okay. What's going on? Uh, a factor of this should be evaluating how much a country needs. Yep, yep. Create a national chart diagram. A factor should be create community-based blocks and share resources evenly. Yep, yep. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's true. All right, I think I have an idea. This my all for consensus-based making, etc. My community work really shows how hard these things are in practice. Yeah, because food not bombs is consensus. But to be honest, like sometimes consensus doesn't work. Sad to say, but in some cases, like anarchism, sometimes doesn't work. Uh, it works lots of times. It does work, but sometimes it doesn't. And I've been in situations where, okay, some people don't need to be like their ideas should not be entertained. Right? We should or this is actually moving a bit too slow. We need to kind of get this going. So let's do a vote. But it depends. But that's not to say if the problem is then people will be like, you see, I told you consensus is work. It's like, no, we're not saying that. We're saying that different methods for different situations. The world is very complicated, and you're gonna have to implement solutions in different ways. Right? Is all I'm saying. A big issue is that our government and leaders don't think about saving money in the long term and provide for all the citizens. Well, I mean, the bigger issue is people in government just don't give a shit about the common person. They only care about themselves. I mean that's the issue. That's the core issue. Is our politicians don't give a fuck about us. They only care about themselves, right? And that's the issue, right? I mean, they're definitely saving money for themselves. That's for damn sure. They got money, but yeah, I mean that's the problem, right? Uh, so is and then we can further talk about okay, how do you deal with that reality? That's a long conversation, which we could go into. Are you still tabling for abolishing police? Yes, I am. I certainly am. I still do that, but now I do it with a group of people instead of just by myself. Yep, still pushing the abolitionist angle, which is part for us, it's more education. It's getting people to think about it. Like, have you considered a world without? A lot of times the answer is literally people will say I actually never thought of that before. There you go. Give people the room to think it over. Right. Yeah. Yes. How do we deal with the reality that politicians don't care about people? Well, I don't really know all. Currently, how I'm thinking about it is you just got to accept. Currently, we're just got to accept okay, I know that these people in Congress don't give a fuck about me, but they're making the decisions. What do we do? Well, they do care about my vote, so we need to, do the mass organizing where it's hey, you do this or I'm not voting for you, right? At the same time, if you're having an issue with food insecurity, for example, if you're in a neighborhood where you don't have access to healthy food, the solution is not going to the town hall meeting or the city council meeting and asking for it. They're just not going to give you any help. So you're going to have to figure this out on your own. The people are going to have to a community refrigerator or community gardening, or or just like people, people who actually care. And there are people who care who have a lot of money, and just asking them, hey, can you just donate some money? Because these politicians ain't gonna do it. So it's like a two-lane street where it's like, okay, community organizing, but also getting people in the government that I know they don't care, but at least they'll listen to me, as opposed to now, like, they don't care and they don't listen. Right? So it's kind of like it's playing the lesser of the evil and also taking matters into your own hands at the same time. One practical solution for the United States, and it works for Canada, is setting a limit on donor money, $250 for every citizen. What do you mean donor money? Oh, like um, like in terms of people donating to politicians. I mean, first of all, I would ask, like, is that working for Canada? Because I heard, like, Canada is not doing very well. I mean, it's doing better than America, but that's a very low bar. Like, so I guess my first question is that working? And, and I also I'm thinking about all the loopholes that the American system has, where you're like, okay, we'll just form a LLC or a corporation. So like it's no longer individually funded. It's like, donors are just corporate. And so, I'm thinking about all those loopholes. But of course, the U.S. government doesn't want public financing. Right? They just dismantled the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, right? Which was a government, or they stopped government stopped financing public broadcasting, or like, oh, but you're saying public financing, yeah. No, the government happily accepts money from donors. Like Trump has like hella donors. Right? No, the government takes our money all the time. Like they accept donors, but you're saying like put a limit to it. Um, yeah, no, the government in this country, they, and then of course we got this whole thing we call them PACs. I forgot what it stands for. Um, Political something companies, where it's literally like companies will develop little side organizations that will finance or like lobby to push their interests. The company I work for has one, FedEx. They have like an organization that they literally go to Congress and like rub elbows with politicians to make sure like their interests are met. But most big corporations have that. Canada is not doing. What about using civil lawsuits to go against specific individuals and entities who make citizens' lives worse? Uh, I mean, that would. I mean, well, the problem is the justice system is like corrupt as fuck. So like, try to solve problems in court is, that's already flawed. Because our court system is horrible. So I don't know if that would work. Um, yeah, but I don't know if you're talking about like, I mean, the issue with like, if we're talking about abolition and we're talking about, okay, first of all, before we continue with this, I think it's time that I just do this. Because it looks like we're just not doing gunpla, which is fine. Which is totally fine. We're going to do this. Oh, hold on. Wait. Okay. And then we're going to do this. But yeah, if you're talking about abolition and you're talking about like, well, how do we deal with the bad actors? What I would say to that is, I think you could address, like, you can decrease the amount of bad actors by just providing resources to people, like access to healthcare and like housing and food and shelter. and a lot less bad actors will happen. So you won't really have to do that many lawsuits because there won't be individuals who make there won't be so many individuals making citizens' lives worse because citizens will already have what they need. Right? Right. Yes, there's one strengthening communities, but also questioning the conditions in which we live under the state and how to dismantle the status quo. The second one is harder one to tackle for sure. Yeah, that for that you need education. And so, Food Not Bombs, if you read like Food Not Bombs literature, they have a response to all that, right? Which is teach-ins and community education and agitprop, which is short for agitation propaganda, where, you're like spreading zines and brochures and flyers about like socialism, anti-capitalist messaging, abolitionists, you know, tax, mutual aid, information, and doing community teach-ins, which are like workshops that are free and open to the public. Yeah. And then questioning the conditions in which we live under. So you got to get people to question those conditions. Try to get this. My headphones it's about that time they're falling apart. Need to buy some more cushioning. There might be residual bad actors like Donald Trump's and his offspring. But even there might be. But I think some of his offspring might be like, yeah, this ain't cool. I know they're members of the Trump family. One of them wrote a book about how horrible his family is. There's that, and let me disable that. But yeah, no, there's the bad actors. So how do you address the bad act? Right. So yeah, that's something to think about for sure. But I think most bad actors are the result. I was gonna say most people who are in prison and who are victims of the law enforcement are just it's for petty crime and like them trying to get like they just don't have resources. But like the true bad actors are the billionaires and the people who own corporations and like insurance companies and and healthcare industries. Like those are the true bad. So how do we deal with them? So and then that's how you would need to like rechange society completely, and like have make like standards like there will no longer be billionaires. That's like the world that we want to live in, right? Where it's like they're no longer going to be billionaires. That's just not going to be a thing anymore. They're no longer going to be millionaires. Everybody's just going to have like access to good housing, good food, good quality of life, but good health care. But that's like the socialist dream, the communism dream, right? But to get there is challenging, I think. But the first way to do it is education. I think it is. What was that comment? Well, ensure I cannot enter the states. I know, right? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. That's what I'm whatever. I know my YouTube channel has really put me on hella lists. And by abolitionist tabling, I'm on so many like watch lists. I'm sure, but oh well. I'm gonna speak my mind. How would you say that we all come together regardless of cultures, ethnicities? No coercion should be imposed. All come together? I grew up in a place where we all came together. Like, I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area where there are many people of different cultures, ethnicities, races, religions, Like there are plenty of places like that. New York City, I guess. Like how would you say we all come together? Like that's the thing that's already exists. I don't get it. Yeah, it's not so much like coming together. It's more just like acknowledging our shared human nature. Hello, Krilo Copti. Sorry, 114. Here's my judgment. Elites can only thrive based on differences, whether it's racial, cultural, ethnic, or religious. Yep. Divide and conquer. Right. Yep, that's probably true. Uh, yep. I'm learning about the oh chiral Cyril, because Cyril could be pronounced various different ways depending. Like I could pronounce a C like a K, or I could pronounce a C like a S. The Y could be a long, or it could be a short vowel. Say I don't know. Say with the I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't. I messaged you on this guy 3 years of career. So okay, so I must have missed that message. I'm learning about the plur, plur, pluriverse where multiple worlds can exist together. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a thing that already exists. I mean, I guess that was one good thing about California. Because my best friends were like, most of the people I grew up with, I remember like, I grew up with people who their first language was not English. And I remember growing up with like immigrants, and they would take the ESL classes, um, and I would help them with English. Like Asian immigrants, people from Southeast Asia, well, from all areas, China, Japan, yeah, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, like yep. And then I had a lot of friends from Latin America, El Salvador. South America, Colombia, Venezuela. I know Venezuela's in the news. Some of my best friends are from Venezuela, or I grew up with them. Venezuela has been, that country has been dealing with a lot of shit for a long time. I mean, I have friends who have escaped a lot of that, in the 90s. Uh, Buddhists. I grew up with Buddhists, Muslims. Yep. People who practice Judaism. Jewish people. I grew up with, had some Jewish friends. Had some Islamic, Middle Eastern friends. I just grew up with all types of different people, and we just got along fine. I mean, it was the '90s, baby. San Francisco '90s, baby. It was good times. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I guess it's how I was raised. I don't. I lived in a world where we were cool with different race, culture, ethnicity. It was fun. Even with shared humanity, most regulars stick to their own and versus their mentality, coercion, whatnot. Well, that's just like the culture. Yeah, we live like I said, like where I was born and raised, it wasn't like that. Right? Some of my best friends were my very first best friends were from Yemen. I still remember their names are Ayub and Samin. They owned a liquor store, like their families owned corner stores. Ayub and Samin, and they were Muslim. I grew up a Lutheran Christian, but we were cool. We would hang out. We'd talk about video games. You know, it was cool. We were civil to each other. Then I met, some Catholics from Latin America, from Mexican American friends, like my buddy Francisco. I mean, these are my childhood buddies. Francisco, of course, and then eventually I, got Asian American friends who are Buddhist, and even I knew some people who were like, yeah, I practice Taoism. Uh, but I guess San Francisco Bay Area is kind of unique in that way. And we would just hang out. I was never like, damn, I need to just hang out with my own black people. I mean, I had plenty of black friends too, but it was fine, man. What do your Venezuelan friends think about the recent invasion? Oh, what does she think? What about I'm trying to think? It's like mixed. I have a coworker. Well, I used to have a coworker who's kind of older, and he's like, "Yeah, that guy, he needed to go." But a lot of like old school, like Latin American people are like very because they have a very bad opinion about socialism, because the way socialism is enforced in these countries is very oppressive, right? So a lot of like older people that are older than me, I know some Venezuelan people who are older than me, and they're very like anti-socialist, and so they're like, yeah, he should have went. And then I have a Venezuelan friend that's my age, and she's kind of like ambivalent about it. She's like, yeah, you know, he's gone now, but it doesn't matter because the government is still basically there, and it's the country is she talks about how there's no hope for Venezuela. She's just ambivalent, very. It's just kind of sad. She left Venezuela. She's like, there's just no hope for this country. She's just very sad about it. I think opinions are very mixed. Yeah. I'm just reporting. It's kind of hard to develop an opinion about it myself. I know, like, I do believe the United States of America shouldn't have did that shit, right? But am I surprised it happened? No, right? Because that's what Trump be trumping. But even during the 90s, where you can say people got along, the United States still had military conflicts like in the Middle East, and then 9/11 happened. Yeah, yep, sure did. Sure did. But I think that has less to do with like cultural difference, and it has more to do with just like imperialism, right? So to go Nadia's point, it's more like capitalism, right? It's just like, you know, people, state powers trying to get resources. And of course, like when 9/11 happened, it's just retaliation. It's people push, it's the American government going to these Middle Eastern countries, destroying these people's land, and they're pushing these people to to extreme desperation where they're willing to just sacrifice their lives for radical causes. And it just, it's karma, I guess. It's like bites you back. If you push people to the extreme, they're gonna. I mean, that's 9/11 in a nutshell. It's the United States' own fault for what happened. It's what goes around comes around. And I say that as an American. I mean, it was a horrible thing to happen. I remember I was a kid. I was in high school when that happened, and it was like, you're just like, whoa, is this like actually happening? You're looking at the news. Um, it's correct. It was surreal. It was very surreal when that happened. But when you learn the history of what led up to that, you realize, like, yeah, United States imperialism. That's what happens. Uh, let's see. I grew up in Montreal with all sorts of immigrants, and everybody's friendly and get along too. Well, there you go. Yeah, if people get along. It's just state power separates people. You know. I should go write my paper now, which is talking about my creative reflection. I did. Okay. Okay, yeah. Send me that if it gets published. Cool. So you're still in school? I didn't know that. Right. Or are you not in school? Or are you just like, that's just for an academic journal or something? I'm looking at geopolitics as to why the system happens. Oh, if you're talking about conflicts in the Middle East, I mean, imperial again, like it's imperialism, and you're asking like, so you're saying like, why does imperialism happen? Greed. It's selfish people in power want, you know, they want power, they want money, and so they'll just go and just devastate a country to get power. I mean, it's greed ultimately is the reason. It's one of the deadly sins. But of course, I mean, that's ultimately what it is. And unfortunately, that's just human nature. I mean, that's always going to be a thing. I mean, that existed before capitalism, with like feudalism. Kings would do that shit to, it's just it's the cruel reality of human beings. All we just need to just try and fight, you know, fight it the best we can. I think I told you a while back I started my PhD in 2025. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah, I remember. I think I remember that because I remember there was somebody who was. We were debating about the education system, and then, yeah, I remember that. And we were like, academia is flawed, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you're getting your PhD, so. And you can do a lot with a PhD. I don't know. I got many friends who have PhD degrees, who are postdoc, who have PhDs. And that's cool. But academia, I mean, you can go off on that. I mean, that's a good example of, you know, life is messy, and when you're in it, because the whole academic system of academia is very exploitative. But at the same time, education is power, and titles mean something, and what you get by getting a PhD is very valuable. So, hopefully, like you can use your PhD for good. You know, knowing that the systems that are in place that give you PhDs are extremely exploitative, right? But I mean, what are you gonna do, man? I mean, I do have friends that are like, "Fuck that," and I would never get a PhD and fuck like academia. It's like, yeah, okay, that's easy to say things like that, but when you're in reality, it's a lot messier, right? What I want to say is that we Westerners need to give up military power to actually unite the world, unite with the whole. And it's not just Westerners, right? Like, look at China. Right? They need to give up their military power too. Shit. Like, China, arguably, well, I guess America still. I mean, America still has the mightiest military, but China, I mean, China was well on its way to becoming the number one power in the world, thanks to Trump. But yeah, no, it's just military. I'm very anti-military, just generally. Let's see. What I want. Oh yeah, and then I kind of just see it as being funded to research whatever you want. I feel very privileged right now. It won't last forever, but funded by horrible monies, it gives me time to do what I want to do and read what I want to do and attend events that educate me. Cool. Yeah, take advantage. Education in my thesis as well. Yeah, take advantage. You know. Yeah, and I hope that you can use that for good, and that would be great. I am focusing on it. Do you think regular people are non-racist and don't support imperialism? No, everybody's racist. I'm a firm believer in like anti-racism, or like that whole concept of we're all from the day we're born we're like bombarded with racist messaging. And so, like, on a subconscious level, we're all racist. And it's not just America or the West. It's like, it's the entire world. Like, I have a black friend, and she and her daughter, who's also black, they went to Japan for like Christmas and New Year's, and they were just walking the streets of Japan, and some random Japanese guy started like throwing like racist comments their way. And she filmed it. She had her phone and she filmed it. She Facebook lived it and showed it. Like, just it's just everybody's right. You gotta like we actively have to like fight that tendency. It's just like programmed into us since the moment we're born. And all of us are racist. Black people are racist against black people. You know, we gotta, you know, um, yeah, it supports imperialism. Probably. I mean, most regular people don't know what imperialism is. Like you asking what's imperialism, I don't know. But yeah, like promote like state powers or yeah, probably. And then you're like, I am trying to use it for good. Anyway, I will get going now in the paper, but looking forward to it. Okay, see you later. Nadia, I know it's been a while. We made no progress on the gun plot. Which one? Whatever. I didn't think I was going to have a conversation, so I added the, the just in case, but it looks like I didn't need that. So see ya, and I'm glad you're doing well. Oh yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good, and I'm glad you're doing your PhD work. So see you later. Uh, and with that, let's see. Do we have? Yeah, I guess with that we will close. Unless anybody has anything else to, any other comments or questions or feedback they want to say, we'll probably bring this to a close. Let me start packing up. No progress. Zero. I should just leave this out and just work on it all while off the stream. I gotta turn this because I gotta let my doggy out. He gotta get his walk. Otherwise, we probably would have just left it on. But yeah, bye bye. Right. See you. Good luck. Yep. Bye bye. Yeah, I'm back. I should have a video out tomorrow. I've been working on this video, so probably it'll be out tomorrow with the book I showed. And yeah, still chugging along. Okay, well, 11 years, baby. See you next year, year 12. And yeah, just send me the address. I'll send you the book. Bye-bye, y'all. Oh, you just caught me. I was just about to push the button, but somebody has got a question? Sure, ask away. Just checking my messages here. Oh, that was the last question. Sorry, that was the last question above. Okay. All good. All right, see you later. Let me see here. I'm gonna